How's it going, guys? And welcome to Forearm Ranch. So, you finally want to get into night vision. You're deciding to make the jump, but you might be overwhelmed by all the equipment that you see here before you on the table. If that is the case, this video is for you. And if that isn't the case and you're just curious to learn more about all the gadgets and gizmos that exist in the realm of all things night vision, then welcome. I just want to be transparent. I've only been into night vision for about 18 months, but once I drank that Kool-Aid, I really drank it. I dived all in. You'll notice I have a lot of night vision content on the channel, and I've learned a lot in that 18 months, but I'm still personally learning myself. So I am excited to announce that I'm kicking off the So You Want to Get Into Night Vision series so that I can kind of share my lessons learned the hard way, some of them the easy way, but lessons learned nonetheless with you guys that may be wanting to get into night vision or just improve and optimize your setup. So what I thought I would start out with first is actually going to be the mounting interface, because without a mount, you can't run your night vision. It's a critical component, and there's some things that I think people overlook or may not realize they can save some money. So that's just where I'm happening to start. What you see in front of you here couldn't be done without the channel sponsors. So Warhammer Armaments sent a lot of the equipment you see out here that I'm demoing. Armorsight actually also provided a lot of the equipment that you see here too. And believe it or not, NOISEFIGHTERS sent some in as well in support of this video. So shout out to 3 great companies doing great things in the night vision space. This wouldn't be possible without them, and want you guys to be aware that they're directly supporting this content. So shout out to all of those companies. Now, one quick announcement that I'm really excited to be making, and I feel like it's the time to try to implement something like this. As of the time of recording this video, we are getting close to crossing that 50,000 subscriber threshold. So I want to do something to give back to you guys, especially those of you that are already signed up on my Patreon and supporting the channel and all the content. If you opt to be a $10 a month or more supporter of the channel, you're gonna automatically be entered into a monthly giveaway. So once a month on the first of the month, starting January 1st, 2025. So I'm announcing this a little bit early to try to make people aware. We're gonna give stuff away that is hopefully relevant to the video or one of the videos that month, but it'll be something, it's not gonna be junk. We're gonna make it as high quality as possible. So for the first giveaway, January 1st, 2025, it's gonna be an Argus G24 mount. Of course, that's not super useful if you don't have a helmet. So we're also going to give away, in addition to the mount, a Team Wendy bump helmet. So it's going to be a black size large, which is the regular, it's like medium/large. You're going to get both of those. So you will have either what you need to get started or to start building that loaner set, or if you want to flip it and sell it and make some money, hey, you want it, it's yours to do what you want. But that's my way to thank you guys for those of you that are already supporters of the channel. Hopefully to get more people involved and supporting so I can make bigger and better content for you guys, but also to get some brands involved because I'm going to be reaching out and see what people want to throw into the cause to give you guys the option to win. So making you guys aware of that, I want to thank you in advance, whether you want to support or not. Your support means a lot, and it's gonna go right back into the channel to make better videos for you. Okay, so making things as concise as possible, you're gonna hear the term dovetail and Wilcox G24 or just G24 thrown out a lot when you're browsing forums, seeing listings, all those spaces where you're just trying to figure out and wrap your head around what you might need. So I'm going to start out by addressing the Wilcox G24, which is what you see right here. So what is it? It's essentially, it's a mount that'll attach to most standard helmets via this back plate, and then it has a dovetail interface. So it has the female dovetail shoe on the front of the mount. Now the Wilcox G24 is adjustable so that you can pan both up and down. So if you got a funky size head, you can kind of adjust to find that position of your eyes vertically. You can also grab a little knob on the right-hand side, and it is hard to turn, so you don't have to baby it. It's very stout, but that'll adjust the tilt angle of your night vision devices, so you can again customize it to you as a user. Another adjustment is you pinch this front shoe interface and you can go back and forth, so you can choose how close you want it or need it to be to your eyes as the user. So in a nutshell, that is the Wilcox G24. The only other feature worth mentioning is it has what's known as a breakaway feature, which essentially means that if that's enabled and you happen to snag your night vision device and there's enough force, it'll actually just unclasp, release your night vision. Reason for that is for people that are actually using this downrange. My understanding is there was a decent amount of neck injuries, possibly even fatalities, because people were getting, pretty messed up night vision snagging on stuff. Now it just breaks away if there's enough force so that your neck isn't what goes first, essentially. So Wilcox G24, kind of controversial. These things go for about 500 bucks. That's a hard pill to swallow if you've already spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on your device. Of course, anytime something is made and it works well and it's expensive, there's a clone market that follows suit. So the other term you'll hear a lot is Argus. Now, in a nutshell, Argus is basically a Chinese company that clones a lot of things in the night vision world, the Wilcox G24 being one of them. Why is it controversial? Well, because you can find this for about $300, sometimes even more, less than the G24. There are other cheaper clones at like $80, but I hate to say that's not the Argus. That's not the genuine Argus, because Argus is still a clone. But honestly, don't sleep on Argus. If you're trying to save some money, I personally run the Argus. I'm going to get into why. And some of you guys may freak out at me saying that, but the Argus functionally is everything that the Wilcox is. There are some people that claim the Argus has tighter lockup. Me personally, I have a sample size of 2 Wilcoxes. I've played with 2 different Arguses, mine being included. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, at least not noticeably to mine. Limited sample size, so take that for what it's worth. One thing I do notice right away is that my Wilcox G24, my genuine Wilcox G24, is loud. This gray one it makes a springing noise, which I'll overlay some footage so you can hear that comparison. Argus versus Wilcox. Here goes the Argus. Argus. Just a little bit of play between the dovetail and this bridge. And here's the play relative to the helmet. The Argus. Play relative to helmet. Better relative to the helmet for sure. Relative to the dovetail, I'd say about the same. A little bit of tolerance there, but definitely tighter relative to the helmet. But when I'm out in the field, I hear that on my helmet. It's a huge difference. First time I ran the Argus, I go to flip it up, and I'm just subconsciously used to hearing the noise of my Wilcox. I didn't hear it, it was quiet. I'm like, okay, sold, good to go. Now, whether you opt to go with the Argus clone of the Wilcox or you use the real Wilcox, I still recommend you use the secondary safety, we'll call it, which is just what you hear referred to as NVG retention systems. This one here is from Warhammer Armaments. It's very simple. This one's just Velcro, and you stick it on somewhere with Velcro on your helmet, and then you use the clip to go around your night vision. So if the mount fails, this is a secondary retention device. So they would both have to fail for you to drop and damage your equipment. You don't have to have it fully exposed. You can see here, I have one routed under my Team Wendy helmet cover. It's currently just clipped and stowed to the side. So it's not going anywhere. You'd have to really, really yank with some extreme force to get that off. So just bringing that up now, it's kind of out of order. Regardless if you go with the clone or the real one, protect your investment with the secondary retention device. If you're not really into the Wilcox for whatever reason, the good news is there is another relevant option, and there's many options out there, guys. I'm just covering what I can to keep this video as short as possible. But the Cadex Defense is actually my favorite of all the mounts on the table. It does everything that the Wilcox does in terms of all the adjustments, except it has an additional adjustment where you can actually adjust the tension of that dovetail mounting shoe. You basically slide this thing up and down by loosening up these screws, and that's just, since it's shaped like a triangle, you're just adjusting the tension that way by how soon that comes into contact with the male part of the dovetail, which is really cool. From a structural standpoint, just looking at the makeup of the Wilcox G24, relatively skinny arms, whereas the Cadex is pretty beefed up, a lot more reinforced. I would venture to say at least 3 times the strength, possibly more. But the good news is, although it appears to be 3 times the mass in those arms. You're going to weigh the Wilcox G24, 5.7 ounces, Cadex Defense, NVG mount, 6.6 ounces. So, you know, just less than an ounce difference overall, and you're getting a lot more strength. Now, these are also in the ballpark of $500. I think they were more. I'm also in Black Friday season right now, so I saw Cold Harbor Supply had these for as low as $450, which I think is a great deal because I believe they were sold for $600 at one point. They come in both black and this tan, happen to have the tan one here. But overall, a very, very high quality mount that I wanted to bring to your attention. Okay, so we got the main helmet to dovetail interface covered, which means we can now mount any of the devices that have a built-in dovetail. So Armasight BNVD40s, my old trusty pair here. Got the Low Light Innovations MH1. They both have your dovetail built in. This is true of most binocular night vision devices. Without making this about night vision devices, there are different mounting interfaces out there, but the most common right now is going to be that dovetail interface. So all you would need is a helmet mount that has that dovetail ready to go, like what you see here. However, there are other devices such as a PVS 14, or you can get into your thermal binoculars that do not have a dovetail mount. So how do we adapt to those? And that's going to be the second part of this video, is what's going to be referred to as bridges or J arms, with the caveat that the Armasight MNVD mount, or the Sidekick Mini mount, I think number 183, kind of a random name, this mount will go directly onto a helmet, and then it has what's now known as your mini rail. So since I talked about it, we'll cover the mini rail. That's going to be like the same pattern. The FLIR breech, which is basically the Armasight Sidekick, is the reincarnated FLIR breech. FLIR and Armasight used to be owned and one and the same. So the Sidekick has what's known as that mini rail. So it's different than that dovetail. So the mount I was just talking about, it'll directly interface, and then it plugs on your helmet and you're good to go. But there are some other things. So since we're on the topic of the mini rail, we have the Ravyn Bridge. Now the Ravyn Bridge has the screw ready to go for a PVS 13. It also has that mini rail adapter to where you can add the thermal devices of your choosing that have that mini rail. So now you can run that dual band setup to where one eye is going to see thermal, one eye is going to see night vision. And of course, the Ravyn Bridge is adjustable to where you can flip stuff up. And there's some adjustability in terms of how wide your devices can go. But just know this is a bridge that'll combine the night vision and the thermal devices you want to use. And it once again interfaces with that standardized dovetail mount. So the male dovetail will interface with any of these female dovetail mount interfaces, locks right in, and you are good to go. But let's say you don't need the mini rail. That's where J Arms and the NOISEFIGHTER Panonridge, this is the Panonridge M1, it gives you panoramic vision because this has adjustable hardware to where not only do you get to look at things straight on, you can kind of go out at an angle and see more of a panoramic angle. So this is kind of the poor man's quads, so you can feel that larger field of view. But once again, you have a dovetail interface. It'll plug in, play with any of the helmet mounts we discussed, locks in like it should. And you'll notice it has the PVS 14 threads on both sides rather than that mini rail. So the Panonridge allows you to rock that. But if you are someone that doesn't need two devices, that's where you hear the term J Arm thrown out, because it kind of looks like a J. And that's going to just have a single thread for a single device. So that'll just thread into your PVS 14. You see that dovetail interface, it'll plug into your mount, and then you can rock and roll. So NOISEFIGHTERS, this is their AX14 Pro, which is a 3D printed one. And when I say 3D printed, please don't interpret that as low quality or junk. Whatever composite material they're making this out of is incredibly strong and solid. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a weight on this one too. So 0.9 ounces for their AX14 Pro. We have their AX14 Max as well. Main difference being that the Max is aluminum. So their Max 14, excuse me. And that's 1.2 ounces. So, I mean, you're at basically a freaking ounce for this, and it's full aluminum. And you can change out, I believe there's multiple pieces of hardware. So it might be because I have the larger knurled screw on there that it's a little over an ounce, because I think they advertise it weighs around an ounce. But Point being, these are J Arms from NOISEFIGHTERS. Both are very, very solid. One is aluminum, one is the composite, and of course the price difference is going to be more when you go for the aluminum. Now, the last honorable mention for those of us that are nostalgic and never had to play with these or were issued these, this is going to be your USGI J Arm. So this is a plastic arm. It has the PVS 14 thread, and it has a different interface. So it's going to go into what's known as a skull crusher. So this goes on your head. It gets the name for a reason because it kind of sucks to wear long term. If you want it to be nice and stable, it really does squeeze your head a bit. That'll just plug in there. And you can see where that PVS 14 would go either over your right eye or your left eye. So I don't recommend this. You can get these full USGI kits for like 80 bucks if you can find them, and it's really not going to give you a good experience. Put that money towards a better setup. But if this is what comes with your PVS 14, then yes, it can be used temporarily or keep it around as a loaner. But this is the last type of J Arm that I did want to cover very briefly. So without overcomplicating things, that is a very basic understanding of what you need when it comes to the most common and prevalent night vision mounts. Please have a fight in the comments on if you should go with the Wilcox G24 or save some money and go with the Argus and put your money towards ammo and training. But with that being said, guys, speaking in the comment section, if there are questions that I left unanswered, please drop them below. I'd be more than happy to help. If this sparked any other ideas that you would like to see for this series that I can help shed some insights on, please also leave that in the comments below. The whole goal is to help share my experiences and my knowledge, but not from the perspective of a night vision builder, just, you know, kind of an average Joe that's out there enjoying this kind of equipment at night. So if you have any ideas, please leave a comment below. I would be more than happy to try to help. Again, a huge shout out to Warhammer Armaments, Armasight, and NOISEFIGHTERS for their contribution and the equipment you see here on the table to kind of showcase and explain things to you guys. And a thank you to you guys if you're still sticking around at this point in the video. I want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to watch. And as always, guys, have a good one.